What happens when two of country music's biggest superstars turn a friendly reunion into an all-out war on live television? It only took 45 seconds for years of hidden resentment to explode into one of the most shocking confrontations daytime TV has ever witnessed. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for daily videos exposing Hollywood's darkest scandals. Last night's episode of The Kelly Clarkson Show was supposed to be a celebration of friendship and success. The studio was decorated with photos from both women's careers, giant screens showing highlights from their American Idol days, their chart-topping hits, their award show victories. There were throwback images from their early 20s, fresh-faced and full of dreams, alongside recent photos of them as established superstars. Kelly sat in her familiar chair on the colorful set, wearing a sparkly blue dress that caught the studio lights beautifully, her hair styled in loose waves. Her band was ready, positioned behind her. As always, her audience was packed with fans of both singers, holding homemade signs, and the energy in the room felt electric with anticipation. This was supposed to be the reunion everyone had been waiting for. Two former Idol contestants who'd both conquered the music world, coming together to celebrate their journeys and reminisce about where it all began. When Carrie Underwood walked onto the stage, the audience erupted into thunderous applause and cheers that seemed to shake the studio walls. She looked stunning in a cream-colored pantsuit with subtle silver threading, her blonde hair styled in perfect waves that cascaded over her shoulders, her smile bright and camera-ready. She waved to the crowd with both hands as she made her way to the guest chair, acknowledging fans in different sections, blowing a kiss to someone holding a sign. Kelly stood up to greet her with open arms, and they hugged for the cameras, both women grinning widely, but anyone watching closely might have noticed the embrace was just a bit too stiff, lasting exactly 2 seconds before they pulled apart, the smiles just a fraction too forced, the whole thing feeling more like a professional obligation than genuine warmth. Kelly settled back into her chair, with her characteristic enthusiasm, clasping her hands together excitedly. Carrie Underwood, ladies and gentlemen, oh my gosh, I am so excited you're here. It's been way too long since we've done this. Sat down and really talked. How are you? How's everything going? Carrie crossed her legs elegantly and smiled. I'm great, Kelly. Really great. Life's been busy. You know how it is. Tours, albums, family, all of it. But I'm grateful for everything. Truly blessed by all the opportunities I've had over the years. That's amazing, Kelly said, her voice bright but with an edge of something underneath. And speaking of opportunities, let's talk about your journey. You won American Idol Season 4, which feels like a lifetime ago now. That show changed both our lives in such massive ways. What's it like looking back at that time? Carrie's smile tightened slightly. It's nostalgic, definitely. That show was an incredible platform, a launching pad for both of us. Though I think we've both proven that the real work starts after the show ends. Winning is just the beginning, not the destination. Kelly nodded, but her expression shifted subtly. Absolutely. Though I have to say, our experiences were pretty different, weren't they? I mean, I won Season 1 when nobody even knew if the show would work. There was no roadmap, no guarantee of anything. By the time you won, the show was already a proven success. The infrastructure was there. The temperature in the studio seemed to drop a few degrees. Carrie's eyebrows raised slightly. Are you saying I had it easier? Because I can assure you, the competition was just as fierce, the pressure just as intense, maybe even more so, because everyone was comparing us to previous winners, to you specifically. Kelly laughed. But it sounded hollow. No, I'm not saying easier, just different. You had the benefit of seeing what worked for me, what mistakes to avoid, what paths to take. First place doesn't have that luxury. We have to figure it all out by ourselves. One of the producers off camera shifted nervously, sensing the conversation veering into uncomfortable territory. But both women were too locked in to notice or care. Carrie leaned forward, her voice still polite, but with steel underneath. Kelly, I've always respected what you accomplished as the first winner. But let's be honest here. We've both worked incredibly hard to get where we are. Neither of us coasted on anything. I didn't just copy your blueprint and call it a day. Of course not, Kelly said quickly, though her tone suggested otherwise. You found your lane in country music, which was smart. Less competition than pop. I mean, I've had to compete with literally everyone in the pop world. Beyoncé, Pink, Adele, all of them. It's a much more crowded field. The audience had gone quiet now, the cheerful energy evaporating as the tension became impossible to ignore. Carrie's smile had vanished completely, replaced by a look of barely controlled irritation. Less competition? Carrie repeated slowly. Have you ever tried breaking into country music as an outsider? As someone who came from a reality show? The country music establishment didn't exactly roll out the red carpet for me. I had to prove myself every single day, earn every bit of respect, fight for every opportunity. But sure, let's pretend it was easy. Kelly's professional demeanor was starting to crack. I didn't say it was easy, but you can't deny that country music embraced you pretty quickly. Your first single went to #1. Your first album went multi-platinum. Meanwhile, I was fighting with my record label about creative control, about what kind of music I was allowed to make. Because you chose to fight those battles. Carrie shot back, her voice rising slightly. I worked within the system, built relationships, respected the genre I was entering. You wanted to do everything your way from day one, and then acted surprised when there was pushback. Kelly sat up straighter, her eyes flashing with indignation, her professional demeanor cracking further. Working within the system, is that what we're calling it now? Some of us refused to be molded into whatever the label wanted us to be. Some of us actually stood up for artistic integrity, fought battles that needed fighting. But I guess it's easier to just go along with everything and call it being professional. Oh, here we go, Carrie said, shaking her head and letting out an exasperated breath. The artistic integrity speech. You act like you're the only one who cares about their music, like the rest of us are just manufactured products rolling off an assembly line. That's incredibly insulting, Kelly. It's dismissive and condescending and completely unfair. The studio had fallen into stunned silence. The cheerful energy that had opened the show was completely gone now, replaced by a thick tension that seemed to press down on everyone present. Kelly's band members exchanged worried glances, shifting uncomfortably in their positions. Audience members sat frozen in their seats, unable to believe what they were witnessing, phones out despite the rules. This was not the heartwarming reunion they'd expected, not the celebration of success and shared history they'd been promised. Kelly leaned forward, her voice taking on a sharper edge, her hands gripping the armrests of her chair. You know what's insulting? Having to watch everyone act like we're the same, like we had the same journey, the same struggles, when the truth is, you had a much smoother path. You won Idol, you got signed to a major label immediately, you released singles that country radio actually played without question. I had to fight for every single thing, every song choice, every album direction. Smooth path? Carrie's voice rose sharply now, her composure completely shattering. You think my path was smooth? You think anything about this industry has been smooth for me? I've dealt with constant criticism, with people saying I didn't belong in country music, with accusations of being too pop, too mainstream, too polished, not authentic enough. I've had to prove myself over and over and over again, while you've been coasting on being the first Idol winner. Acting like that alone makes you more legitimate, more important than everyone who came after you. Kelly stood up abruptly, her hands clenched at her sides, her face flushed with anger and hurt. Coasting? Are you serious right now? Are you actually standing there accusing me of coasting? I've released 8 albums, won 3 Grammys, hosted this show for years, built an entire career from nothing, and you're accusing me of coasting? That's rich. Coming from someone whose entire brand is playing it safe, staying in your lane, never taking any real risks. Carrie stood up as well, matching Kelly's energy, stepping closer so they were almost face to face. Playing it safe? I've taken plenty of risks in my career. But unlike you, I don't need to constantly remind everyone how hard I've worked. I don't need to go on every talk show and every interview and talk about my struggles and my battles. I let the work speak for itself. I let the music, the tours, the connection with my fans speak for itself. Is that why you agreed to come on this show? Kelly's voice dripped with sarcasm now, her words sharp and cutting. To let your work speak for itself? Or was it to promote your new album? Because let's be real here, Carrie. Let's be completely honest for once. You don't do press unless you're selling something. You don't show up to these things out of the goodness of your heart. You show up when you need something from the platform. The audience gasped audibly at the accusation, the sound rippling through the studio like a wave. One of Kelly's producers stepped closer to the stage, walkie-talkie in hand, ready to intervene if necessary, looking to the director for guidance. Carrie's face flushed red with anger, her hands trembling at her sides. How dare you? How dare you say that to me? You invited me here. You reached out to my team. You asked me to come on your show. Was this whole thing a setup? Did you bring me here just to tear me down on national television? Is that what this is? Some kind of revenge for perceived slights? I brought you here for what I thought would be a genuine conversation. Kelly fired back, her voice rising to match Carrie's volume. I didn't realize you'd spend the whole time acting superior, making passive-aggressive comments about my career choices, about my struggles, about everything I've been through. I thought we were supposed to be friends, or at least friendly. I thought we could be honest with each other. But apparently that's not what you want. Friends? Carrie laughed bitterly, the sound harsh and painful. Friends don't make backhanded compliments. Friends don't minimize each other's accomplishments. Friends don't suggest that one person had it easier than the other when we've both worked our asses off to get where we are. Friends don't keep score of who succeeded first or who matters more. This isn't friendship, Kelly. This is a competition you've been having in your head for years. Kelly's eyes narrowed dangerously. Her jaw clenched tight. I never said you didn't work hard. But you're standing here acting like we're equals when the reality is I paved the way for you and every other Idol winner who came after me. Without my success, without me proving that the show could launch real, lasting careers, the show might have been canceled after one season. You might never have even had your opportunity. None of the winners after me might have had theirs. That's just a fact, whether you want to accept it or not. The words hung in the air like a bomb that had just exploded, the shockwave spreading through the studio. Carrie stared at Kelly with an expression of pure disbelief, her mouth slightly open, her eyes wide with shock and fury. Her chest heaved with emotion as she tried to process what she'd just heard. Wow, Carrie said quietly after a long moment, her voice shaking with barely controlled emotion, her hands clenched into fists. There it is. That's what you really think, isn't it? That I owe my entire career to you. That every achievement, every award, every sold-out stadium show, every #1 single, it's all because you went first. Like I'm just riding your coattails to success. Like nothing I've done actually matters because Kelly Clarkson did it first. That's not what I said, Kelly protested. But her voice lacked conviction. And even she seemed to realize how hollow the denial sounded in the wake of what she'd just claimed. That's exactly what you said, Carrie's voice echoed through the studio, bouncing off the walls and ceiling. You just told me that my opportunities only exist because of you. You basically said that without Kelly Clarkson, there would be no Carrie Underwood. Do you have any idea how condescending and dismissive that is? Do you have any concept of how insulting that statement is to every winner who came after you? Kelly's producer finally spoke up from off camera. Ladies, maybe we should take a break, cool down, and come back to this. No, Carrie said firmly, her eyes never leaving Kelly's face. I think we need to finish this conversation right now. Kelly, do you genuinely believe that I don't deserve my success? That it was somehow handed to me? Because that's what it sounds like. Kelly ran her hand through her hair in frustration. I didn't say you don't deserve it, but you have to acknowledge the reality that being the fourth winner is different from being the first. You had examples to follow. You had proof that the show could launch real careers. I had none of that. I took all the risk. And you've been holding that over everyone's head ever since, Carrie shot back. Every interview, every award speech, every opportunity you get, you remind people that you were first. Like that's the only thing that matters. Like nothing anyone else accomplishes can ever measure up to being the original. Because it does matter. Kelly's voice rose to match Carrie's. Being first means something. It means I took the biggest risk, faced the most uncertainty, had the most to lose. And yes, I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I made it possible for people like you to have the careers you have. People like me? Carrie's voice went dangerously quiet. What exactly do you mean by that? Kelly seemed to realize she'd crossed a line, but was too committed to back down now. I mean winners who came after. Winners who benefited from the path I cleared. Is that so wrong to point out? It's wrong when you use it to diminish everything I've accomplished. Carrie's voice cracked with emotion. I've sold more albums than you. My tours gross more than yours. I've won more Country Music Association awards than I can count. But none of that matters to you because I wasn't first. Because in your mind, I'm always going to be second tier, always going to be lesser than Kelly Clarkson. The audience was completely silent now, some people looking uncomfortable, others filming on their phones despite the no recording policy. Kelly's band had stopped pretending to do anything else and was just watching the confrontation unfold. Kelly's face showed a mixture of anger and hurt. That's not fair. I've never said you were lesser. I've always supported fellow Idol contestants. I've congratulated you on your successes. But you can't expect me to pretend that our journeys were identical when they clearly weren't. I never said they were identical. Carrie threw her hands up in exasperation. But you're the one who keeps bringing it up, keeps making it a competition, keeps needing to be seen as the most successful, the most important, the one who matters most. It's exhausting, Kelly. It's absolutely exhausting. You think I'm making it a competition? Kelly's voice had an edge of hysteria now. You're the one who's always trying to prove you're better. Every album, every tour, every award, it's like you're trying to show up everyone who came before you. Like you need to be seen as the biggest success story from the show. That's projection and you know it, Carrie said coldly. You're describing yourself. I make music, I tour, I connect with my fans, and I live my life. I don't spend my time comparing myself to other people or keeping score. That's all you. Kelly laughed harshly. Really? Because I've seen the interviews where you talk about album sales, about tour numbers, about breaking records. You absolutely keep score. You just don't want to admit it. The difference is, I don't use those numbers to put other people down, Carrie countered. I don't go on television and tell people they only succeeded because of me. I don't make everything about myself and my legacy. My legacy? Kelly's voice rose again. I've earned the right to be proud of my legacy. I've worked harder than anyone, sacrificed more than anyone, and yes, I opened doors that didn't exist before I kicked them down. If that makes me arrogant, then so be it. Carrie shook her head slowly, her expression shifting from anger to something like disappointment. You know what? I actually feel sorry for you, Kelly. You're so obsessed with being first, with being the original, that you can't see how it's poisoned you. You can't celebrate anyone else's success without making it about yourself. You can't acknowledge that other people might have worked just as hard or achieved just as much without feeling threatened. I'm not threatened by you, Kelly said, but the quiver in her voice suggested otherwise. I just think it's important to tell the truth about our different experiences instead of pretending we're the same. The truth? Carrie's voice was bitter now. The truth is, you invited me here to boost your ratings by having a big Idol reunion. And when it didn't go exactly how you wanted, when I didn't fall all over myself thanking you for your inspiration, you couldn't handle it. So you started taking shots at me, diminishing my career, trying to put me in my place. Kelly's eyes filled with angry tears. That is not what happened. I tried to have an honest conversation, and you got defensive and turned it into this. You made everything hostile. I got defensive because you were attacking me, Carrie shot back. From your very first question, you've been making little digs, making subtle implications that I had it easier, that I'm not as significant as you are. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Did you think I'd just smile and nod while you diminished everything I've worked for? One of the audience members called out, "Can we just go back to celebrating both of you?" But both women ignored it completely. Kelly stepped closer to Carrie, her voice low and intense. You want to know what really bothers me? It's that you act like you did everything on your own, like the show was just a starting point and everything after was pure Carrie Underwood magic. But that's not true. The show gave you credibility, gave you a built-in audience, gave you opportunities you never would have had otherwise. And you don't want to acknowledge that because it doesn't fit your narrative. My narrative? Carrie's voice was incredulous. My narrative is that I worked my butt off every single day since that show ended. I didn't expect anything to be handed to me. I earned every single achievement through talent, hard work, and dedication. But apparently, that's not enough. For you. Apparently, I'm supposed to spend the rest of my career bowing down and thanking Kelly Clarkson for allowing me to exist in the music industry. That's ridiculous and you know it, Kelly said. But there was less conviction in her voice now. Is it? Carrie challenged. Because that's exactly what it feels like. Like you think every idol winner after you owes you something, like we're all just benefiting from your generosity in succeeding. It's narcissistic, Kelly. It's genuinely narcissistic. Kelly's face went pale, then flushed dark red. How dare you call me narcissistic? You don't know anything about me, about what I've been through, about the pressure I've been under as the first winner. Everyone compares every winner to me. Every single one. Do you have any idea what that's like? Oh, poor Kelly, Carrie said sarcastically. Must be so hard being the benchmark for success. Must be exhausting having everyone acknowledge you as the original. Meanwhile, the rest of us have spent our entire careers being compared to you, being told we're not as good, not as important, not as groundbreaking. But sure, let's focus on your struggles. The producer stepped fully onto the stage now. Okay, I think we really need to stop this. This has gone too far. You're right, Carrie said, reaching down to unclip her microphone. This has gone way too far. Kelly, I came here today out of respect for our shared history, out of what I thought was mutual professional courtesy. But clearly, that was a mistake. Clearly, you've been harboring resentment and bitterness for years, and today you decided to let it all out. I'm not the one with resentment, Kelly protested weakly. You're the one who can't handle a frank discussion about our different paths. Carrie laughed coldly as she removed her mic pack from her waistband. A frank discussion? Is that what you're calling this ambush? You know what, Kelly? I hope holding on to this first winner superiority complex brings you happiness. I hope it keeps you warm at night, because from where I'm standing, it just looks sad and petty. Kelly's eyes blazed with anger. Get out! If you're going to stand on my show and insult me, then get the hell out. Gladly, Carrie said, dropping her microphone onto the chair. This has been the worst interview experience of my career, and that's saying something. I thought we were colleagues, maybe even friends on some level. But I see now that you're just someone who can't stand seeing other people succeed without making it about yourself. That's rich coming from you, Kelly shouted as Carrie turned to leave. Miss Perfect country star who acts like she's above everyone else. Carrie spun back around. I've never acted like I'm above anyone, but I'm definitely above this. Above being insulted on television. Above being used as a prop to make you feel better about your insecurities. Above pretending this was anything other than a disaster. She started, walking toward the exit again, her heels clicking sharply against the studio floor. The audience sat in stunned silence, unsure whether to applaud or just remain quiet. Kelly called after her one more time, her voice breaking. You know what your problem is, Carrie? You've spent so long trying to prove you're better than me that you can't see we could have been allies. We could have supported each other. But you're too proud, too competitive. Carrie stopped at the edge of the stage, her back to Kelly. I never needed to prove I was better than you, Kelly. I just needed you to acknowledge that I'm good at what I do, that I've earned my place in this industry, that my success isn't just a footnote in your story. But you couldn't even give me that. With that, she walked off the stage and disappeared behind the curtain, leaving Kelly standing alone in front of a shocked studio audience and cameras that were still rolling. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the sound of the stage door slamming shut as Carrie Underwood walked out of the Kelly Clarkson show, ending what had become one of the most explosive confrontations in daytime television history.